Hello, my name is Hakon, and today I'm going to show you a very simple thing to do on the Empress Effects Zoia. In fact, it may be one of those really simple things that you want to do with a multi-effects pedal, but it's not immediately obvious if you're a beginner how to do it. The reason I'm making this video and how I noticed that this was a video that probably was important to make is somebody had asked a question on patch storage about how to do this. Now, it is very simple. You are playing an instrument and you want to use the Zoia for different effects, and you want to switch between those effects using the stump switch. So you have one effect, press the stump switch to get another effect, press the stump switch to get another effect. It is a really, really basic thing, and although it is simple, it is tricky if you don't know how the Zoia works, if you don't understand, or if you haven't really been into the concepts of modular synthesis before and how to patch things together. So I'm going to go through it today, and I'm starting from scratch. So I am going to start with the stump switch input. So we are going to, let's see, interface modules, and down to stump switch. And stump switch left, yeah, that's the one. So basically what this does, it gives us an interface pad on this pad area here on the grid for this stump switch here. And this is momentary. So every time you push this one gets a value of 1. You release it, it has a value of 0. Actually, I'll just show that 1 and 0. So what else do we need? We need an audio input. So okay, that's also interface module, audio input. I just happen to have a stereo input now, but I will demonstrate the rest of the patch in mono. I will say something about how to do this in stereo when I get to those points where that makes a difference. So, okay, so audio input. At the moment, the audio input is connected to my microphone, the one I'm speaking through, actually. And if you look here, you can actually see the waveform now of what I'm saying showing up on the screen here, just to see that is working. Okay. Now the next thing we need is a sequencer. And I think do we have room for that here? Let's find out. Okay, control modules, sequencer, and we want 3 steps. Let's see, 3 steps. Now this could be a different number of steps. The reason I chose 3 is because I want to switch between, for this demonstration, I want to switch between 3 different effects. What I might also consider doing is to have 1 step for all effects being off, but I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just going to have effects on every single one of them. So there we are, 3 steps. And the trick to making this work is to think of how a sequencer works. A sequencer has 3 values, or this one with 3 steps has 3 values, which usually is note values, but it could be absolutely anything. And they come out here on this sequencer output. And of course, if it had more than 1 track, there would have been more outputs, but this is a single track sequencer, and it has a gate input here. And how a sequencer works is every time the gate gets an input signal, it advances 1 step to the next one. So we are planning to use these 3 steps to control the selection of which effect is active. So we want the stump switch input that we created first to connect to the gate input of the sequencer. So now every time I press the stump switch, the sequencer goes to the next pad in the sequence. Otherwise it just stays there. There's nothing else connected to it, so it will only advance when the step is selected. Okay. Now, what else do we need? Yes, now this is the really big thing to make this work, is the next module. And this is one you're going to be using all the time when you patch your own patches on the Zoia. It's one of the most basic modules for creating, well, anything. And it's called a switch. So I'm going to create here now in control modules, and no, hang on. This is, I'm used to using a control module for this, but this is actually an audio module. Because we are switching with audio, the switch is in the audio module. The normal switch for switching between CV values is in control modules. So we have an audio in switch is not what we want. An audio out switch is what we want. And we want the same number of outputs as we have effects we want to switch between, or if we had, for instance, also a track for that was supposed to be an off state, we would add 1 for that. So in this case, again, I'm using 3. Oh, select 3 and done. Okay. So what is a switch and how does it work? There are 2 main types of switches, and they have an input which comes first. In this case, it's an audio switch, which has an audio input. It has a channel select pad, and it has a number of outputs that is the same as the number that we set when we create the switch. We can also go back, of course, and press Shift and the edit button and change the number as well if we need more. So the audio input here is going to be the one from the Zoia's audio input, the one that keeps flashing up here every time I talk. And of course, now we are not going to be using stereo for the rest of the patch, or at least not for the working bits of the patch. So I'm going to patch up left and right audio to the audio in switch. Now, if we wanted to continue having a stereo path through the Zoia, I would have used 2 audio out switches, one for the left channel and one for the right channel. So that is possible to do, but in this example, I'm just using thinking of it as a mono input. Now, the way a switch works is, of course, how does it select the channel that gets the output? So there's 3 channels now. As you can see, channel 1 has the output, channel 2 is empty, and channel 3 is empty. So at the moment, the channel selection here is on channel 1, and you can select it manually from here. But it is, of course, most convenient when you activate the switch with control voltage, with CV values within the Zoia. And the way a switch works, it takes the range from 0 to 1, the sort of working CV range that is used by most of Zoia's modules, and it divides that range equally between the number of channels. So in this case, we have 3 channels. So you take 0 to 1, you divide it by 3, and that means that when the channel selector gets a CV, a control voltage input of between 0 and 0.333, so a third of the whole range, it will set the switch to select channel 1. When it gets 0.333 to 0.6667, it selects channel 2, and between 0.6667 to 1, it will select channel 3. And the thing about a switch is it has in this case, an out switch has a single input and 3 outputs, and only one of the outputs will be active at a time. And of course, this is what we want to achieve. We want only one effect to be active at a time. So we want channel 1 to go to effect number 1, or to send the audio to effect number 1. We want channel 2 to send the audio to effect number 2, and channel 3 to send it to effect number 3 when we make those in a minute. So And this is where the sequencer comes in again, because we want the sequencer to send the values that triggers the different channels on the switch. So we want the first step of the sequencer. It says A0 there automatically because it presumes note values, but if you push the encoder, you get just the CV, the control voltage value, is now set to 0. And we can keep it at 0 because we wanted to select channel 1. It could be all the way up to 0.33. Oh, that's a bit high. 30, yeah, that's 3296 or 3333, really. The second encoder is then meant to select, or the second step in the sequencer is for selecting the second channel. And this needs to be higher than 0.333. Just put it up to just below the maximum here at 0.66. Yeah, 0.661, that's fine. And the last one, we want to select the third channel, so that goes, might as well just put it at 1 actually. So now each of these values here will be sent on from the sequencer, and we need to patch this value here. This is the output of the sequencer. We want to patch that to the channel select value here, so we patch those two up. And then every time I switch or press the stop switch now, you see the signal is moved to the next channel here, as well as moving the sequencer along. The signal is moved to the next channel on the switch, like so. And this is exactly what we want. So now we have these 3 outputs that can be sent to 3 different effects. And let's put in, go to effects modules and put in, delay with mod. Why not delay with mod? And I'm not going to do the stereo processing now, but if we used stereo signal all the way through, we would have 2 switches here. They would both be triggered by the same sequencer output. So this trigger from the sequencer would be sent to the channel select on both switches. And one of the switches would be the left channel, the other switch would be the right channel. And then we would choose 2 in. I'll just show quickly how to do that. So 2 in, 2 out, and we would take the first channel output from one switch to the left channel on the input, and the other switch's first channel would be sent to the right channel on the input. We are not going to do that today. We are going to make this a 1 channel in, 2 channel out, and done. Yeah. So, and now we want this to be the first effect that is triggered. So we take channel 1 from the switch there, and we send that to that input there. Okay, so now this actually is, okay, so 1. So now this should be, okay, so now it is active, and we can see there's an effect going on over here because these output pads on the delay light up. So we also need 2 more effects. Let's just select another one down here. Effect module, we can put in, what do we want today? Let's see, vibrato. We can put in the vibrato, why not? 1 in, 2 out. Doesn't have to be 2 out, but I'm using 2 out. I mean, this could be part of a mono signal chain. And everything is blue now. Let's make it a different color. Okay, so and this one we want to be selected when, or to get audio when the second channel on the switch is active. So I'm going to patch up the second one there. And now you see the active effect is the delay, and we push the button and the active effect becomes the vibrato. And one more. Let's do one more. And yeah, flanger. Okay, I'm just picking random ones now. It doesn't matter what it is. I'm just demonstrating the concept now. So again, this has an audio input, and this one is supposed to get the 3rd channel from the switch, and I'll just patch that up down there. And these do look a bit too alike, don't they? So if I just change the color actually of the just a little bit, so it's easier to tell them apart now. Now it doesn't show properly on the camera anyway, but just for me to see them more separately. Okay, so at the moment this is the one that's getting the output. I push again and you can see the output here on the third effect is lighting up and the other ones are not at all. And that shows the signal strength, and it shows this is the active one. Right, what do we need else? We need an audio output. So let's just put one here. Go to interface modules, audio output, and I always like using a gain control regardless of what I'm doing, just in case. So the first two pads there of the audio output are, let's see, this one looks also a bit too much like the effect next door there, so I'm going to make that a little bit more different. And so we want to patch up the outputs of all the different effects modules now. So left to left, right to right, left to left, right to right, left to left, and right to right. And now I might switch at some point during this. Now I'll switch to the audio from the audio output from the Zoia, so you can hear what's going on. Now I just need to put my headphones on just so I can hear what's going on as well. At the moment I'm just seeing this visibly that something is happening. So right now we are on the flanger effect here, and we move on to the delay, and we got delay, and we got delay, and we got delay. Now, another nice thing about this technique is that when you switch effects, you get tails. So I switch now to chorus, and you can still hear the tails of the delay of the previous effect. If you press bypass, it just cuts off. All right, let's just try that again with bypass. Okay, so now we are on the flanger. Let's go back to the delay. Right, so there, delay. Okay, there we are. Delay. Delay. Bypass. Okay, so the bypass just cuts everything off. What we want sometimes is to actually have the tails of delays and reverbs just continue when we switch off an effect. And so that means that if you do this on the Zoia, when you switch the effect away from the delay, you still get the delay tails. Delay tails. And now we're on the second, on the vibrato, which probably sounds better with a sort of a vowel sound, like ah. Nope, bumping into my camera now, sorry. And also to the flanger, which sounds a little bit strange. I sound like I'm talking inside a tin can now. Right. So that is the principle of it. It's very simple. You just use the stomp switch to switch between the different effects. And only one is selected at a time. There we are. So that's all for today. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you again next time. Please like, share, subscribe, or comment. So if you enjoyed this video, if you have any questions, of course, please leave a comment and ask them, but I'm hoping this is rather clear. So this is a really basic thing that, because of the way the Zoia works, it's not immediately obvious how to do it. One more thing, actually, I just mentioned this while I'm here. If you want one of your, basically what we're doing now is we've got 3 different things that we select between on the Zoia. You can use this principle for going through a sort of rotary list of selections for other things as well, exactly the same way, because the principle is the switch. And also, if you'd wanted to have some of these selection steps have 2 of these effects active at the same time, you could have a step where you can imagine that you send the audio to 2 of these rather than to just 1. So there are many possibilities with this as your basic starting point. So yeah, that's it for today, and thank you very much for watching again, and goodbye for now. And goodbye for now. And goodbye for now. And goodbye for now. And goodbye. Bye bye. Bye bye.